Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. It is Wednesday. I'm David Rice. That's Adam. Thank you, the Insurance Circle Agency. I can't believe next Friday is already July 4th.
One of my favorite holidays.
For sure. It's nice so that this year it falls on a Friday.
Anytime that happens,
and
that's
there's
very well.
a couple people in the office who are leaving early Thursday, including myself.
Hey.
So part of Thursday and Friday and the weekend off, and then we're closed on Monday. And then we'll be here Wednesday with the show, but besides that, and then we'll be in Lake Michigan the week after.
You
Thursday
say we, but you mean you.
Yeah, me. But Wednesday through the weekend, so
Yeah.
Extended vacation coming up.
Nice.
So
Nice.
The weather definitely is in our favor.
I was gonna say
at least
lake
it's
weather.
not 95 anymore.
That's right. Especially in this podcast studio, I'll say that it can get warm in here.
Yes, for sure. So we'll find out in a couple of minutes if Coach Cook can survive the air conditioning in here. So NBA Finals happened, concluded last since we talked to you guys. The Thunder beat the Pacers Game 7, but of course the big headline was Tyrese Halliburton.
That sucked, didn't it?
For sure. And the last time somebody like a major injury like that in the finals was Kevin Durant in 2019 against the Raptors.
Yes.
And then the fans were cheering after.
Heartbreaking.
And
Seriously
then
heartbreaking.
the game after is when Klay Thompson got hurt.
Oh, that's right. And that kind of gave, how I look at it, that kind of gave Toronto the series at that point where it was going to be close before. We might be talking about another Warriors championship if that didn't happen.
For sure. We'd start putting them in the conversation. Not that they weren't already as a dynasty, but more in a conversation of like the next best team after like when the Bulls had their run or the three-peat Lakers, or
you could say one of the greatest dynasties ever.
Oh, it still is for sure. But
but
that would have really solidified it.
Yeah.
So and and Steph Curry probably would have won Finals MVP that year too, considering they both got hurt.
Who do you think is the second best dynasty in NBA history? Because
behind the Bulls.
I will argue that the Celtics dynasty is the best dynasty of all
from
time. The Bill Russell,
Okay.
Bob Cousy, those years. But who would you put on that Mount Rushmore? Which I have a Mount Rushmore question for our guest as well, but for you, this is your Mount Rushmore question of the day.
Second, I got to go with the Bulls.
Yeah.
Third, I would have to go with Shaq, Kobe, Lakers.
Would the Heat be on this list?
No, because they also lost in the finals like 3 times.
They did lose in the finals, that's right. I watched a compilation video of Stephen A. Smith guessing when he was on that long streak of always picking the wrong NBA Finals. And I forgot, because it was he wasn't picking the Heat, and then the Heat won. Or he picked the Heat, they lost. Then he picked against the Heat, and the Heat won.
To be fair, that first time they lost in 2011 to the Mavericks.
That was a big shock for obvious reasons.
That was a Cinderella.
Yes.
You're not going to get a Dirk carrying a team like that
and
again.
That version of Dirk might be one of those players that I'm I have a game for my life, and I can pick a specific player in a specific time. It probably would be that Dirk, and then it would probably be that LeBron from the Cavs series that beat. I like that.
The 3-1?
I like that version of LeBron for what he did better than the Heat version, even though Heat, a lot of people say that's his best form. It's like a Pokemon.
Yeah, overall, I think it was, but if you had to pick one, my life's on the line, I would pick 3-1 series.
I would, yeah.
LeBron, for sure.
Him and Dirk on the same team. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
That would have been nasty.
Nasty.
So, Celtics, Bulls, Lakers. Fourth, I would have to go with Coach Pop and the Spurs.
I was thinking about them too. It's funny
because he won 5 titles. They beat LeBron and the Cavs twice. They won a couple titles with David Robinson. So I think either 4 or 5 titles.
Yeah. Well, and do you play NBA 2K at all?
Not that much.
I love that game for multiple reasons. We'll discuss that later. But in that game, they have all-time teams.
Yep.
I think the Spurs all-time team is one of the... obviously, Lakers and Celtics are the best ones, but that Spurs all-time team, when you have like the players that the 05, like that era of the Spurs had, and then you add Kawhi Leonard to that, and you add the Admiral on there, and you had George Gervin. I mean, that team is ridiculous. So Spurs,
and then in a couple of
one of the
years,
best.
they're going to put Wemby on there already.
Well, he's on that team. I think he's coming off the bench, but he's on that team. So it's just like, Duncan sits, and when Duncan's on the bench, it's like Vic comes out there and just destroys. So, yeah.
So we're okay either way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of a flex, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's as soon as he got hurt, Tyrese Halliburton, you kind of knew that was it.
Yeah.
Although the Pacers were up by 1 at halftime, they had to keep it low scoring, and that's why they were only in it for the first half, because it was 48-47 at halftime. You knew without Halliburton, the Pacers weren't going to go out and score 100 points.
Right.
Which is what they needed to do, and that wasn't going to happen.
And it sucks because they were close. It was still a closer game
Yes.
than you think. Now, do you think this OKC team, do you think this is a one-and-done type scenario? Do you think they're going to win one championship, or do you think this is a sign of things to come from them that they might be back here next year?
I think I'm going to give my prediction for next NBA season already. I've seen quite a few people talk about it, too, already. I think the Thunder will at least be in the finals next year.
Okay.
They are paying SGA. He's due for, a huge extension. They're paying Jalen Williams. He's going to get decent pay. And Chet Holmgren, they're going to pay too. So they're keeping the three main guys together.
What about
now, you
Caruso?
might lose a few like role players or bench players. But if you have those three guys, I would put them, obviously, look at what just happened against anybody, because especially in the West, both conferences are tough. But in the West, Denver, I don't really see as a threat.
What if they add a piece? Like if they add like a really, really good player. I don't know who,
But the only big name would be Giannis, but I just don't see Giannis playing for Denver because I don't think they'd have the money.
Dude, could you imagine Giannis and Jokic on the same team?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. But
so
I
sick.
just don't think they have Jokic money to also pay Giannis that kind of money.
Yeah.
Because you can't pay two guys that crazy amount.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it with like the Heat. Like we talked about the Heat earlier with like Bosh, Wade, and James. They probably had to maneuver some things around to be able to do that. But also like their depth wasn't like extraordinarily good during those years. They had a couple really good players. I mean, look at like Ray Allen and stuff like that. So they had some guys.
And they didn't have
tough.
to pay really Ray Allen that much because he was older.
Yeah. And he was, but boy, did he come in big for them, man.
Yeah. So in the West, I don't think Denver's a real threat right now. If LeBron plays like LeBron, I still, they need a center.
Oh, talking about the Lakers?
So I don't think the Lakers are a threat either. So I think OKC for sure comes out of the West. But my next point on here was quick early look to next year in the NBA. I was watching PTI yesterday and talking about East.
That's a throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were talking about East contenders. The number one team that both of them said on there was the Detroit Pistons.
Whoa.
Because Tatum's out for almost the whole year.
Is that what they're saying?
Pretty much that's what they've been saying. So
I still think Boston can do some things. Their
not
team
without him.
See, I still think they can. The way that their team is built.
But I don't think they can get to the finals or win the finals without him.
Yeah, you know what?
Because you still need that guy.
Yeah, this might spur them to go out and get somebody if it's going to be a good majority of the season. If it's kind of like, okay, he might come back towards the end.
Well, I think that's the best spot for Giannis if he's going to go anywhere. I think it would be with Boston.
Doesn't he come home to Detroit? Why hasn't he?
Well, before Kevin Durant got traded to the Rockets, he had said on a podcast he wouldn't mind playing for Detroit. He said he likes
destination now.
He said he really loves Cade and the young guys that the Pistons have.
I just think having a veteran like that, a veteran
like KD,
player. Yeah, KD
with
or
the
Giannis.
young guys.
Well, yeah, and it's like a guy with a lot of postseason experience. And the thing that was nice this year is like we got some playoff experience, which is good. We faced a really, really good Knicks team and could have won that series. It was really close. Yeah, I mean, really close. So I think that this was a great experience for them. And I think getting a guy that has even more playoff experience to pair with these young guys, even if we have to give up a Tobias Harris or somebody like that, who did perform well for us, I'd be okay with it to get somebody like Giannis, give away a couple firsts.
For sure. So I think OKC out of the West, the East is going to be really tough because you've got, obviously, once Halliburton comes back, if he's still himself, obviously you still have to have the Pacers in the mix. Then there's the Knicks, as much as some people would hate to say that, you still have to count the Knicks in. I think the Pistons would be there, the Cavs. So I think those four. Orlando's a good young team, but they're not in that next tier yet.
Yeah.
And I think the Pistons are the lowest team out of the four, but they're in that upper tier. So I think Pistons, Celtics, Cavs, Knicks.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's
against OKC.
You know, that's pretty good. Because then also, you know, when you think about Indy trying to come back, you know, with Indy, it's kind of just a matter of how long is Halliburton going to be out for? Because it's a long
Clearly,
season.
you saw what they could do without him, which wasn't much.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, they were able to hang in there, but yeah, you know, and that's the thing too. They're hanging in there with the best team in basketball. That's something that you have to think about too. Is that this was Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and they were hanging in there with the best team all year, the best team in basketball. You know, to me, I said early on it was going to be them and the Cavs, and it was close. I think I said them against either the Cavs or Boston, so it was close. And you can argue Tatum didn't get hurt; it could have been Boston.
For sure. So, now that Kevin Durant's with the Rockets, I would have thrown the Rockets into the Western Conference mix, but I know they had to give up one of their young guys, but if Jalen Green would have not been traded, him with Kevin Durant, I would have put them there.
Yeah.
But Jalen Green's not with the Rockets anymore, so it's basically Kevin Durant with, you know, who?
He's got that weird. He's had that weird thing where it's just like you have some players like a LeBron or, you know, I'm struggling to think of somebody right this second, but like somebody who stays with either 1, 2, max 3 teams their whole career, and those are lengthy runs with those teams. You know, I think LeBron, lengthy run with the Cavs, pretty decent run with the Heat, especially with how far they went each of those. And now with the Lakers.
Back to
Cleveland. And then now with the Lakers, where it's like, I feel like KD is just getting passed around to all these different teams. Because it's just like,
and the same things happen with Chris Paul, too.
And that is a great comparison. Is like
James Harden, Russell Westbrook.
All those guys, Kyrie Irving, even to an extent, where it's just like, didn't work out here. Okay, well, he's going to this team. He's there for a couple of years. And I just feel like that's not like what the NBA used to be. You know, you had a couple guys like that. But a lot of guys, it's just like they stayed with their team, or they were on like 2 teams mostly, maybe fizzled out on one last team at the end of their career. But it's like some of these guys, like KD, an all-time great, is just getting passed around to different teams. It's not working.
Because he started with the Sonics, Thunder.
Yep.
Then went to Golden State.
Then went to Brooklyn, right?
Brooklyn. And then Phoenix.
Suns, and then
Rockets.
Yeah, and it's just weird to see somebody that is a top, you could argue, a top 20 player of all time. I would just put him in that list. I'm not going to go any further. Top 20 player of all time. And one of the best shooters to ever play the game. And it's
one of the best scorers.
Yeah, and thank you. And he's just going all over the place. It's just bizarre to see.
You know, one guy that didn't really leave a franchise, although I do respect him for that, but he never got a ring, was Carmelo. And he was with Denver and then went to New York and didn't get anything. And he's one of the great all-time greats, too.
One of the best players I've ever seen.
Yeah. And he's going to be great on NBC, too.
Oh, he's going to be on NBC? Oh, he's a good analyst. He's good with that stuff.
They keep announcing more people. So
run out of room at that table.
Real quick, and I'm going to forget somebody, but it's going to be Tarico and Reggie Miller as the A-team.
Oh,
that's going to be awesome.
That is so good.
Because Mike Tirico.
We love Mike Tirico here. Yeah. We need to get Mike Tirico on the show.
He's a Michigan guy. Right. He's from Ann Arbor.
We got to call Mike Tirico.
Yeah. I don't think he looks at his DMs on social media.
I know, but
so.
we gotta talk to Mike Tirico. He's the man.
Also, Noah Eagle and Dwayne Wade or Vince Carter will be the B team.
That's awesome.
And Jamal Crawford is an analyst, too.
That's so sick.
And then those guys, Jamal, Carmelo, in the studio.
I'm excited for this NBC coverage. I really am. Like, the second they announced it, I was excited. And it's NBC, so I trust NBC. It's unlike, no offense to our friends over at ESPN Ocho, but with ESPN...
Yeah, you don't have to say no offense.
Well, yeah.
People know it's bad.
Right. And with ESPN, I'm a bit more worried about, like, taking over the inside, and we've talked about that before. But with this, with NBC, it's just like, nope, it's going to be done, because I think I really love CBS's production of football, but something about the way NBC does it, I really like. And I think
other than the bass drum.
The bass drum? What are you talking about?
When they go to the replay in college football, it's the drum.
Oh, yeah. You don't like that?
No, that's like the only effect they use for
yeah,
it.
That's true.
But no, and then Prime Video is going to be good too, because their top play-by-play guy is Kevin Harlan.
Mm-hmm. I forgot they're doing games. I forgot they're doing basketball. Yeah.
Prime will have the NBA Cup,
mm-hmm.
and they will have a couple first-round playoff series as well.
Nice.
Plus, I forget what day of the week, but the Wednesday or Tuesday night, whatever.
Now,
on Prime.
Their football coverage at the start was a little rough, if you remember. It was
Yeah.
a little rough, but I feel
it's
like
okay.
Yeah, I feel like that they've kind of gotten a little bit better with
I like
that stuff takes time.
I do like some crossovers more that are happening now with other commentators. Like in the first round of the NBA playoffs, Jay Billis did an NBA playoff series, and he's Jay Billis is great, and then Kirk Herbstreit doing NFL.
Yeah.
With Al Michaels. Now it's old Al Michaels. People still give him crap. He's like 84 years old, man. Let him be.
One of the most iconic announcers of all time.
It's like Marv Albert. People were coming after him like retired.
I mean,
it's like
if you were the announcer for the Miracle on Ice, then you can be an announcer for as long as you want. That's the most legendary call of all time.
Or the earthquake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Bay Area earthquake. So yeah, I mean, he gets a pass in my opinion. He's always gotten a pass. It's fun though. It's fun when it's like he's complaining about how bad the game is. And they did get very unlucky with a lot of their games. A lot of like two backups playing against each other. I remember that was like
that's how it's always been on Thursday night.
I know.
You remember the old like CBS NFL Network Thursday nights with Jim and Phil Simms, where it's like the Jags against the Dolphins, and it's like who's watching that?
Two incredibly underrated, because you brought up NFL, like NFL Network, so two incredibly underrated play-by-play guys. One would be for football, Rich Eisen.
Yes, I was just going to say Rich Eisen. And he's also a Michigan man.
Yep. And number two, in my opinion, and this is in baseball, Ernie Johnson.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like, during those good years of the Tigers being in the playoffs and him doing a lot of like the ALDSs and stuff like that and ALCSs, man, he was so good. I rewatched one the other day and it was just, man, he was awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Ernie doesn't do baseball anymore, and I'm disappointed by that.
And now definitely not with not being at Turner anymore.
Well, he still works. He's still employed by Turner.
He?
All those guys are, because TNT is just like Pat McAfee. TNT is still producing inside.
Oh, I keep forgetting that that's how they're doing it.
And
it's just going to be on
airing
ESPN.
on ESPN.
I gotcha. Okay.
So they are confirmed the post-game show on ESPN. Same format like the hour. Not short, and then they throw it to Scott Van Pelt. So post-game, halftime, and an hour pregame.
Gotcha.
So NBA draft is tonight, Wednesday, on ESPN. Of course, Cooper Flagg is going to be the number one pick, unless if the Mavericks pull another incredibly stupid move.
There's no way. They're taking Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind.
And also, two guys from Rutgers, believe it or not, will be in the top five. Harper Jr., Ron Harper's son, and Ace Bailey will be top five. Rutgers was really bad, not good, but they still have two top five picks.
I remember having discussions with Brandon about that too, saying like they got two really, really good players, but the rest of the team just didn't have it. I remember us watching a game and him being like, yeah, they're not that great.
The one Michigan basketball game I went to this year was at Chrysler when they played Rutgers, the shot where they won at the buzzer.
Oh, yeah.
That was against Rutgers.
That was a game to go to. Yeah.
So, You know, what else could the Pistons add? I mean, what do you think is needed? I think it doesn't hurt to add a big man if you're Detroit.
It doesn't. My thing, though,
because, well, you don't want to have Isaiah Stewart as center. That's just not.
No, but we got Duran.
Yeah.
Isaiah to me is more of a power forward more than a center.
Right, exactly.
You know? That's the thing. Well, this might sound crazy. With how young our team is and how I love how our team is built, I almost want to trade this first round pick and go get somebody. I want to go get a veteran. I really do. No,
and I think they need a veteran, but also if you want to continue building the young core, you don't give up the pick.
We have a really good young core, though. You know, and do we think this next 2 years that this guy coming in from this spot, you said we were like 14th or something like that?
Well, that was in the NHL.
Oh, that was which we'll get to next. But yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be that. We'd probably be like around 20 or something like that because we were in the playoffs. But still, I don't think we're going to get, and who knows, NBA drafts are crazy. You can get Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, so anything can happen. But I think that
$5 cravings box.
Hey man, got to get a cheesy gordita. But I don't know. I think if we traded it, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be totally okay with it. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I'm still okay if we end up giving them away.
Yeah, but I think in that situation, if you want a veteran, to me, it's a lose-lose situation because if you don't give up your first-round pick, then you don't get a veteran who will help these young guys. Yeah. Like, I know KD's with the Rockets, but a big veteran star like that, it's a lose because you don't get that veteran star. Right. But also, if you do get that veteran star, the age is the factor.
True.
Because then you lose out on a first-round pick to keep building the core of young guys. So I think in that situation, it's a lose-lose either way.
Yeah, it would depend on who we were to get, but we still got a little bit of time to figure that out.
Yeah, and then the NHL draft is on Friday. Florida repeated and 0-2.
Yeah, that sucked. And I was so close with both of them, a Game 7 and a Game 6. And I told you 7. I told you 7 for the NBA Finals, and you thought I was crazy. So I will tell you that. When I said it was going to be in 7, you're like, really? So,
but NHL was a blowout in Game 7.
You don't trust me on my NHL knowledge. I'm a casual NHL watcher. Casual.
Well, I didn't really watch much of the game either. It was like 5-1.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully you didn't lose too much money. So,
that's why you got free plays.
That. Yeah, thank God for that. Coming up on the show today, I'll tell you who we have our guest on in a minute, but after the interview, Rodgers did say in Pat McAfee this will very likely be his last year, and that's why it was only a one-year deal with the Steelers. Mm-hmm. It's not a year-by-year. This is it. Also, Tigers are the first of 50 wins, dominated on Tuesday with Skubal on the mound, and they won 11-4.
I got something to talk about that, too, once we get to that segment.
Okay. Also, the Rocket Classic, the PGA Tour event, is back in Detroit this week, kicking off Thursday. So I'll give you all the names. I'll be going on Friday. Andy's going as well Friday.
Hey,
so,
nice.
We have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
When we come back, so stay tuned. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. Joining the show now, first time winning the state championship, Grass Lake softball coach and a former teacher of mine, Roger Cook. Coach, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's a nice studio here.
Yes. You still trying to be on the come down the aftermath of all the celebration that's happened?
It's been pretty exciting. There's been, you win it, and then you start going down a little bit. We just had our banquet the other day, so doing our show here today, and it's just been a good ride. It's coming down to reality a little bit, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Any summer plans now that the school year's out and softball's done?
Well, I'll get out and start watching some of the other softball players. We have a bunch of them out playing travel ball. And then we got a farm over on Lee Road that it'll be time to be baling straw here pretty quick. So I'm going to enjoy this for as long as I can. So just keep me in here for a couple weeks, and we'll go from there.
For sure. Of course, and you've said it in other interviews too, but community support is the biggest thing, especially, also me being from Grass Lake. It's huge. And you guys had the celebration at the pavilion after, and people were lining up, the whole entourage with the bus, and they had the game on at Prate's Place. So I got to imagine for you and the team that support is the biggest thing.
So I went to school at Grass Lake, as you know. I student taught at Grass Lake. I've coached at Grass Lake, and I'm now teaching at Grass Lake. And the community has always been number one. And just the pouring of, all the way from Rich Abrams and our maintenance crew to our bus drivers, to our administration, Dr. Angel, Miss Byerly, they've all been, and Brian Zale, they've been so good about welcoming us. And then you come to the parade and you see all the rest of Grass Lake. My brother won the 88 state championship in baseball. So we've got people donating stuff to us. It's just been unbelievable. It's definitely a community win, not just about the girls.
Yeah, and I know that's the biggest thing that you've talked about was it's not one person, it's not one player. They're all for each other, and I think that's really what made this work this year.
People say you might have had more talented teams. I mean, we had the team we had last year with Olivia Turner and Riley Fitzpatrick and my daughter Aspen. That was a phenomenal team. Those are the foundations that build up, even for me, the learning experiences that you can transfer to your next team. These girls were just multi-athletes. We have Reese Lape, like I've said and mentioned in some of them. She's a basketball player, track star. Adeline Henson is a phenomenal volleyball player. Kennedy Collins, she's equestrian. And then you mix that in with other great kids who do play softball, and they just all come together and they gel, and they gelled at the right time.
Yeah, and then, you mentioned, too, after the quarterfinal at JC, you had other pitchers and players from the area helping you guys out, too. Du Bois from Hanover, Lucy Bivens from Northwest, which, by the way, I thought she should have been All-State when those names came out. I thought she was robbed for being
good.
All-State.
Yeah, she was good.
So, but you've had other players and pitchers from the area helping you guys out, too. How key was that?
Oh, and Emily Underwood, former graduate from Chelsea, now at Spring Arbor. We tried to match the speed and the pitches to what we might be seeing down the road, and it helped us. They're phenomenal kids. I mean, young, athletic talent right there. So they came in, they gave us as many reps as we could, and we didn't have to burn our own live pitching. So they were phenomenal. They did a great job for us. In fact, I give them a lot of credit.
We have a really good area in softball. I know even at the district level, you had Columbia's a really good team in our conference, and they're going to be, for the next couple of years, they have a really good pitcher too. Hanover had a really good team this year. How were you guys able still to because you only lost one conference game, you split a doubleheader with Hanover. Despite all this good talent in the conference in the area, how were you guys still able to just dominate through the schedule?
So we have all the teams together now. There's, with Leslie, Homer, and Columbia, and Kylie Cochran over there at Columbia. She's working on a machine there. She's building. I saw her at all the games, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the finals. She's got a machine coming up there, and she does a great job. Doug Du Bois there at Hanover Horton. So very good teams. I think we just look at it, one game at a time. It doesn't matter who the team is any given day. You just have to, you're being hunted because you've won the conference the last couple of years.
Right.
So just do the best you can. Try to keep them calm each game. And this group, you didn't have to work very hard doing it. They knew what they were playing for. They knew it was about the community, the team, and one pitch at a time. And I thought they did a really good job of that.
Talking through the postseason run here a little bit, obviously won the district, and then you defeated Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central, which historically they're a really, really good program. And then you beat Columbia, Grass Lake versus Columbia three times in 1 year. I can't imagine that was easy either, obviously. And then playing the conference rival. Not only that, you played them for the conference championship, and then you played them again in the regionals. That's got to be really tough playing, and that's a really good team too. It's hard to beat a team obviously more than once, but beating them, 3 times is just credit to you guys.
Weatherby is going to be she's already a phenomenal pitcher.
Yeah.
They're solid all the way around, and my goodness, that shortstop, they're just tough, and they're young, and I'm not so sure us being a little bit older and then coming playing back to back might have had a little bit to do with that in that last one. But boy, they're a tough team. They're well coached, phenomenal team.
So keep on going here with the postseason run. We get to the state title game. A lot of exciting plays in that final game, too. You mentioned your freshman earlier playing third, Kennedy Collins. And the one play, the pump fake with the spin move and the throw to Bree Saltz at home. Do you guys work on that? Is that something that just happened?
We do work on that. And let's
Really?
just say it's not always that clean in practice. I've seen her spike the ball when she went on the fake like a football player. I've seen her throw it at our catcher, Bree, about 1,000 miles an hour.
5 feet away.
From 5 feet away. So let's just say when we had to do it, we walked out and we called timeout and we said, because we knew they were going to score some runs, but we had to try to limit it. Tell Kennedy, if we have that runner there, you're going to fake no matter what. The rest of you is either get the out and then just see. And she did it to perfection. And not only that, but the tag that our catcher Bree put on, and then if you notice, our center fielder Emily came up and covered second. Reese Late came up. They did it. Everything came together at about as good a time as you could for that crew.
Yeah, and then Layla Smith had that chopper to first. Claire had a fielding error, so she gets to second. And by the way, the energy that she brings on base when she's hitting, definitely it adds another thing.
Wasn't
for
like
the
that
team.
all season. You start out and you're trying to figure out this is a total different team.
Yeah.
And we're trying to find leadership. We're trying to find energy. All of a sudden, things start building. Girls start maturing. And I relate that to a lot of the girls being comfortable with each other. Well, Peyton Heath down on first base, when she got walked on 4 pitches, just jumping up and down. Well, then Layla Smith just really took over. You get her on the base. She's just about as exciting as it gets when she gets fired up. So it was good to see that they caught that. And that's the next level stuff that they'll need.
Yeah, and after you guys scored those 4 runs in the 7th, and then it's 5-2, and then Claire got on base. You knew that, like you said, they were going to score some runs, and then it becomes 5-4, and they start slowly coming back. And then you take that timeout to talk. What we're going to do. We're going to throw to home first. What'd you tell your team in that timeout there?
Basically, it's just relax.
Yeah.
We're already winners. You guys are winners as a team with everybody here. Let's just one pitch at a time. Let's just see what happens. Keep them calm. And they're just the most calm, laid-back crew. Coach, we got this. We got this. And when you got Morgan Conrad on the hill, she just looks at you. She's got that eye of the tiger in her face. And that's another one there. She had a heck of a season.
Yeah, I was just going to mention her next, and one of your 5 players who are all-state, and you have her coming back next year, too.
Correct.
So she's been unbelievable all year, especially during the postseason run. There's a few moments in some of those games, obviously, because once you get deep enough, you play really good teams, but you get to a point, and then there's a tough part of the game, tough part of the inning, and the way that she battled through was incredible.
She has her leadership over the last couple of years has just been unbelievable. For her to finish 29-0 against the teams that we played this year, and she battled some injuries early on. We had to, Mackenzie Hilberer and Nadine Hubbard had to do some pitching, and Morgan just stayed through, and her hunger, and once they all believed the defense was going to play behind her, and she did the rest on the mound. And she's got her battery mate back there, Bree Salt's been unbelievable catcher, and they work so good together, and I think that's what makes it all come together for them.
Yeah, because you can have, and we've seen it in baseball too, at pretty much every level. And we were just talking about the Tigers in the segment before this. You can have a good pitcher, but if you don't have a good catcher or a wild pitch, somebody who can make the grab, throw to home, it doesn't work out the same.
Right. So you're saying you went Detroit Tigers to Grass Lake Warriors softball. That's pretty good right there, guys. That's good to be in the same thing.
There you go.
Well, the Tigers are the best team in baseball. You're just talking about that first team to 50 wins.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Bree and these seniors welcome the girls on the bench that don't get much playing time or everybody out there. They make everybody so calm and comfortable. And just Bree is such a leader back there. Then you got Emily all the way out in the center field, and you got Nadine. Like you got them in the key spots right there to kind of run things. And then you get Morgan in the circle, and that's a good combination to have.
For sure. And I know, and we'll talk about them in a second, I know you're losing the 3 seniors that have meant so much, but you have your pitcher coming back next year. You still have quite a few of your infielders and 2 of your outfielders coming back too. So that's You got to feel pretty good about that, right? Coming into next year, you have still a lot of those weapons and some really good bats. 1 through 9 this year, most of them coming back.
And honest, you're losing not just Emily Brown and your spiritual leader. You got Bree Salt's back there leading the whole team, and Nadine. You're losing 3 pretty darn good girls that not only are athletic but bring everybody together. So definitely, we'll find something. We don't know yet, but that's what I get to do. I get to go out and scout this summer. We've got some nice young talent out there playing, so we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
So I always have to ask everybody this that's on the show. So I'm a big Mount Rushmore of different sports type guy that we talk about. So this can either be current or growing up watching guys. Who would be your personal Mount Rushmore of baseball players? Whether it's just the way that they played or just grew up watching them.
Baseball?
Yeah, baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, George Brett was always a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
And this is going to sound maybe a little cliche, but you talk about Mount Rushmore. Well, I put my brothers on Mount
awesome.
Rushmore and my parents because they're the ones that every single day, every game, every practice, they're sending me goat memes and different things, just goof around. But honestly, it's them. My brothers and my family mean the world to me, my wife and my kids. They're the ones that pick me up. And that's who I play for, as well as the community. So if you had to put heads up there on the Mount Rushmore or anything like that, it would be my family. No one certain person. They've got my back through thick and thin. And it's kind of what you do it for, It's we're best friends. We talk every day with the brothers. So I'm just trying to get in here more so I can beat Brady, who's been on the Bart Hawley show more than enough times. This is my one. I want to make sure we get a couple more in there. So
of course. I love it.
Now, I don't know if you also had this question, so maybe I'm stealing your question, but Mount Rushmore, putting you on the spot here, of softball, in our area, all time, whether it's a coach or a player, somebody who maybe not just talent, but just somebody who has also made an impact on you too. If you had to make a Mount Rushmore of our area softball,
man. There are some phenomenal coaches. As far as Grass Lake, Coach Joe Bechtel for me and Randy Cole, true inspirations right there, and Rod Hall.
Yep.
You look at the softball realm of things. I've got Al Roberts out there at Clinton who, even answer all the questions. Barb Blair from Vandercook, amazing, and still we talk to this day. So there's so many coaches out there. We're so close in the community, not just the Cascades, but I think I heard from the Cascades, the Big 8, from all over. So believe it or not, Napoleon back in the day when we would just go head to head all the time, and Doug Richardson and I would be
some really good battles.
Oh, to be so competitive, and we'd argue with each other. And now we're really, really good friends. So Doug Richardson's another one too, throw in there. And like I said, there's a lot of other real good coaches that you learn from. And as a coach, you're learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
The mental game from the coaches, how to behave in the community, how to react with your kids. I mean, there's always so much. It's the head coach gets a lot of the credit, but there's so many other things outside of it that it wouldn't even be possible if it wasn't for these coaches and other people.
Yeah, and it's the rest of your coaches on your staff too. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Oh, Anthony Brown and Mo Peterson and Mike Radka helped out this year. Mostly Anthony Brown calling the pitches. Maureen, my gosh, if she's not bringing food or sewing things or getting after the girls or being the mama duck, you gotta have that, and they don't get enough of that credit. And then it goes on, when I first started coaching, we had Steve Loveland and Scott Willis and people coming out of the fields with their work boots on, coaching bases for me. So it's a true grit. It's what you play for, the love of the community, and everybody who's there behind the scenes that builds up to that scene.
So, and you brought up grit, which is perfect. So, I remember back when Dan Campbell came into the Lions, that was the thing he was instilling. If there was one thing, it was grit.
Yeah.
When you became coach, was that kind of what you were trying to instill? Or, because obviously, this is the most success that they've had in a very long time. So is this going to be, did you kind of come in and say, hey, I'm going to be changing a few things? Or what did you kind of do when you first showed up?
When I first started, this is over 25 years ago, it first started out as, I started teaching, I'm going to try to get the first varsity sport, go from there. It's such a faster game than baseball. I mean, I always did baseball, football, basketball, but softball is fast.
It is.
And, start coaching these girls, and you see the character, and you see, man, these girls want it just as bad. So over time, it's just become my absolute favorite. It's instilling the grit comes with, we invite people to our practices. We have some people in Grass Lake going through some rough times. In fact, we had a cancer awareness game. And in fact, one of the ladies, Monique Baird, who came to it, we gave her a ball and threw out pitches along with Kim Brown and Tim Scarborough. Well, she just also recently passed away. And, that day she was talking about the softball team. It's those things that give the girls the grit. Like, you know what? Win or lose, we're on this field. It's our playground. We're winning right now. We're family. So I think that gives the grit. Hey, we can do what we want out here. Just play our best, play together as a team, and whatever happens, happens. Let it fall in place.
Yeah, it almost seems like a coach can only go so far into telling somebody. It's almost like you need those experiences in life to be able to truly get that grit.
Absolutely, the experiences in life, and we tell it how it is. We've been through a lot of things in our lives. This is a softball game. And you also look back to all those players that build that foundation, and I'm learning from them. And now they have their own kids and their own families, and I might be coaching them soon.
Yeah.
So I can't say enough about the past teams, and the parents. My gosh, the parents they're the ones that should get all the credit. They're the ones taking girls to travel ball. They're the ones I get them for that 3 months. And what they've done with these kids have just raised phenomenal young ladies. And I couldn't be more proud of the parents as well as in the past of everybody who's helped out.
Is there somebody, speaking of that, is there somebody that you can kind of think on this current team that's kind of been like the unsung hero that may not have been getting the headlines of always being there, but somebody who's been in there day in and day out putting in the hard work?
You asked that, and we just had our banquet. And we have these awards that go to individuals. Batting order, warrior award, leadership award, sportsmanship award. And I'm not kidding when you ask the players to vote for that. It came back where I think every player on the team was listed for those. So in the past you'd have like clear-cut winners. This one was just amazing because it was everybody. So, I could go right around the corner from Mackenzie Hilbear, who doesn't say a word, but yet she goes out there at shortstop and she's flat out a bulldog. So her at shortstop, and she's one of the best around, to, like you said, to Layla, and then Nadine and Collins on the corners with Bree, and then my entire outfield. I mean, I can't say enough about Ava Hamp and Bryn Bell, Aubrey Damashik, and Chloe Hollifield on the bench. I mean, they bought into their roles. They could have complained. They could have quit. They didn't. They were phenomenal, getting foul balls, helping us out, running bases when we need to, jumping in. So you asked that question about an individual, and I wish I had one. But with this team, I don't. They're all of them.
That's a true team when you
it
think
is,
about it. I mean, that's
100%.
That's a true team. And that's when I think back to just, in baseball history, some of my favorite baseball teams aren't the ones that are all star-studded. It's those teams that are true teams. We were just earlier talking about like the 06 Tigers, just like that group of guys that just works, you know. Is there I know this team is really special for you. Is there another team that you can think of in the past that's been like one of the more special groups that you've had?
Obviously, I had my daughter for 4 years, and that helped, But honestly, I couldn't pick one team. I've just been absolutely blessed to have each team has its own character, and you as a coach have to adapt to that character of what that team is. I've had teams different where there'll be more individual, but they'll be athletic as all get out. But this team here may not have been the most athletic, but you go out to sit down for a few minutes and there's no space in between them. They're just all huddled up like some ducklings sitting there and like, gosh, they just get it. So I wish I had an individual team, but it's in my 25-year career, it's all of them. They've all built to that state championship. And I know my team this year won the state championship, but that's why I can't reiterate more that it's a community, past, from everything state championship. I really mean that. There's just been really good groups.
And that's what makes, I believe, high school coaching so difficult is that, like, I feel like every 2-3 years, all the players are gone, whole new group, and then it's like your identity almost kind of changes a little bit with each team. So I know that must be one of the more difficult parts of coaching.
Absolutely. And if, everybody else is celebrating the state championship, and I'm thinking already, okay, who do I have here? Who am I looking at now? What leadership do I have? And if I could give advice to anybody out there, for any players coming up, be coachable. Just be coachable, be good kids, and everything else will take care of itself. But that coachable aspect that's number one. You don't need the talking back. Even a dirty look or a down shoulder or a walk away did not have that this year. Whereas in the past, there might be a couple. but just be coachable. And this whole group, and that's why they were all coachable. There was no back talking. There was no nothing. Just fun kids to be around. And it's weird. I miss my softball daughters and family because we're not practicing right now.
Right.
Like, guys, where is everybody at? But we get together for the 4th of July. We're going to be in the parade there in Grass Lake.
Nice.
We owe a lot of things. Everybody's been so good to us. We owe a lot of things. And it's all about giving back to the youngsters or giving back to the community, and that's what we want to try to show.
And I know we kind of talked about it earlier too, but like, how important was this win for the Grass Lake community? And the run that you guys were on, that was such an impressive run right at the end.
Right. Everybody says, gosh, finally this guy got one. It's only been 25 years. I'm thinking, it's not easy.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do.
Back to talking about, because softball's in the spring, so you've played all your sports. Our seniors graduated about a month ago or more. It seems like it's been a long time. You're battling just getting to the summer. Could be boyfriends. Could be, there's always something. And right now, AAU volleyball, AAU basketball.
Yeah, there's other sports we're talking about that they're doing too.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, our girls, I know some that went right from that state championship. They went right to tournaments, whether it be softball, basketball, volleyball, and other stuff going on. So it is hard. You just have to rein them in and tell them, hey, this is it for the school year. Mm-hmm. You're a family for 3 months. After this, it's done.
Yeah.
And I think they're starting to realize that now. We're just trying to keep the energy up and let's enjoy this a little bit and get to that parade, and it'll be fun for the community.
That's so awesome.
By the way, AAU, I feel like there's so much you have to invest if you're like a parent with AAU. The travel and the hotel and even the cost of being on an AAU team now is just, it's ridiculous, and it's almost every weekend there's a tournament and you're gone. And that's adding to like you said, the 3 months in the school season. So I give credit to a lot of them.
There could be some burnout. There could be some injuries, but it's what we live in today. A lot of people feel like they need to do this, or we need to pay this to compete. But I'll tell you what, like this team this year, we didn't have a ton of travel ball players. You had athletes. So give me athletes any day of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
for sure.
You had 5 all-state players all on the first team, which was incredible. And only compared to really 2 on Hanover. Otherwise, a couple only other teams in the area had 1. But Emily Brown, Kenzie Hilbeer, Bree, Layla, and Mo Conrad, all state. Have you? I can't imagine you probably had another team with 5 of them, right? 4 or 5 on the. Obviously, we've had plenty of all-state players at Grass Lake, especially the last couple of years. But what do you think that speaks to with having not only 5 all-state players, but all 5 on the first team too? Because there's first and second honorable mention, and they're all on the first team too. And some of them, as a sophomore, there's 2 juniors on here too.
It's funny you asked that, because we did have one other year where we had 5, and a lot of people don't know that you can only have 5. So
there's a limit.
There's a limit of 5. So actually, Lainey Brown, who was phenomenal pitching a couple of years ago, was not able to get on there. This year, we got the 5. We would have had 6 with Nadine Hubbard, and because we already had 5, they had to actually take them and say, hey, her batting average is a little lower, so should have been Nadine Hubbard right on there at first base. I give all the credit to Lisa Roberts from Clinton too, because she was the one who pushed at the All-State. She does a phenomenal job to get our players recognition. Politics, luck. You're leaving it in other people's hands. Those 5 or 6 that would have been All-State or are All-State would every one of them would say, let's put it back on our team. Our team is the reason we get these individual accolades. So it is fun. It's a lot of fun, and they'll get rewarded during the All-Star game for it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, especially my graduating class 2023, the team that made the quarterfinal in 2022, those were some really, really good teams with a lot of all-state players. So I know there was a couple players that have been left out from that. But, it's just, I guess it comes with having that much success. You have that many great players.
Well, you get your name out there, that helps. You play a tough schedule, that helps.
Yeah.
You have the right person directing them for the all-state meetings, that helps. But yes, having the tradition, having good players, definitely all gets you through there. But I always tell them, individual awards, fantastic, you deserve it. But it comes back to this core crew, and that's what we preach nonstop. It's about the team. Get your individuals, but don't forget that team's there, and they're really good about it.
After you guys won and celebrated the trophy, and even at the banquet, what what'd you tell your three seniors? And that was their last time together too. We have a photo in our gallery on our website of the three seniors with the trophy after it. It's a great picture. What'd you tell them? What was your last
Every year up until this year, I'll grab the seniors and we'll hug and we'll cry it out because you really do become family. We didn't get time to this year because we got to the state championship game. We won it. We just hugged each other and said, "What did we do?" It's like it was so surreal. Like, what are we doing here? Because we were so focused on getting things done. It's all been enjoying it now. Individual texts back from the seniors, seeing them at the banquet. I'll see them on the 4th. It's a happy cry. It's an embrace that you join the crew and the rest of them, and now you get to watch us and help us out, and we learn from you.
Yeah, and I know your son Brian's grad party was supposed to be on that day too, but the whole party came to East Lansing too.
My poor wife and family. My gosh, that's when my son played. Obviously, he was a senior for Grass Lake baseball, and my coaches were phenomenal because they coached a couple of games while I went and watched my son. So that was great. But yeah, we set that grad party. We didn't know, we didn't think so. Fortunately, we got there, and my son was like, "Hey, let's go bring the party to East Lansing." So I was there for a half hour, and we all went to East Lansing and had a grad party.
Good sacrifice by him.
Yeah, and it's memorable. He'll always remember that. So
I just can't figure out why people at the game didn't give him cards. Like other people from down there. That would have been real good.
If they were planning on going to the party, you still have the cards.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Oh, it was fun.
Well, as another Grass Lake graduate, since I've started here at JT, I've got a chance to watch the girls basketball state championship with Coach Cabana. There's a couple other sports. Bowling's won a couple state championships. I know football, they got robbed out of not making the playoffs this year. We've said that many times on the show, but football had a great year this year. Girls basketball, great as always. Coach Saltz has a great program, took over from Coach Cabana. And of course, you guys have always had a lot of success. So it's always I know they always say it's a great day to be a Warrior. It always is. And you can go, and all the teams and all the kids support, go to all the games. So I think that's what's special about Grass Lake. The boys basketball, really great this year. Everybody came and supported them, and then the girls, and then softball. So they all support each other too.
Right.
So I think that's what makes it special.
Girls basketball is going to put on. April does a phenomenal job. I talk with her all the time, and she's got the same philosophy as I do. So she does a really good job, and they're going to be really tough this year as well.
Well, I know we want to have more time. It's only an hour's show, but no, we do appreciate you joining the show. Congrats on all the success. I know I probably don't want to make you feel old by me interviewing you, and then I know you've already mentioned that after the quarterfinal I had you as a student, and then interviewing you all this time
well
later,
thanks to JTV and you guys. You've been there since day one. Everybody else kind of followed along in the bandwagon, but it's been JTV and you guys that have been there since day one.
And we're free too, so
that's right.
Hey, all right.
We're free to read. So thanks, Coach, for joining me.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yep,
Thank you.
Absolutely. So thanks to Coach Cook from the Grass Lake Warriors 2025 softball state champions. So we'll be right back here on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. Thanks to Coach Cook. As always, we appreciate it. I believe that was the first coach we've had in studio for the show. So I think
it is. You're right.
So thanks to Coach Cook, another Grass Lake Warrior, of course.
We're just getting all the Grass Lake coaches.
Yeah. Well,
they've been having good teams. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, and one thing, I did ask him about was this senior class was really great. The football had a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to talk about the playoffs because they got robbed.
Yep.
That's, we've said that.
Of course.
Girls basketball had another great year, and then they played Lumen in the district final.
Yep.
Boys basketball, obviously, went 21-1 in the regular season, 21-0, and then they lost the last regular season game by 1, and then lost by double digits in the first district game. But still, they had a great season.
Yeah.
First conference championship in over 50 years
right.
for them. Then, of course, softball and baseball won a district championship as well.
They all did really well.
And his son, Bryant, was a receiver in football and then was also on the baseball team, too, and basketball. So, good year for the Cook family as well. So, Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show, this will likely, very sure, that's his words, will be his last year in the NFL, and that's why it's a one-year deal with Pittsburgh. So, whatever he's got left in the tank, this is it. So,
Don't know how much is there, but we'll see.
The Packers do play the Steelers this year. So,
That's cool.
that's going to be...
In Lambeau, do you know if it's in Lambeau or if it's in formerly Heinz Field, what it's used to be? I don't know what the heck it's called now, but
whatever
the
it's
big
called
ketchup
now.
bottles, that's all I remember back then.
Yeah. No, it used to be cool. Just like
Yeah.
the Coke bottle at Oracle
Yeah,
Park.
it used to be AT&T, now Oracle, yeah.
Let's see, Packers schedule, the Steelers. It is at Pittsburgh Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I like the Sunday Night Football aspect, but that would have been
Well,
cool
you knew
with
that was going to
Lambeau.
be a prime
Yeah,
time
I
game.
wish I was at Lambeau, though.
Because I would have went to that game. We're still trying to figure out what game we're going to go to because we're not able to go to the shareholders meeting again this year in July.
Do the Detroit one, even though it's going to be a loss for you guys. You should still go. It'll still be fun.
No, I'm only hesitant about that one because look at Ticketmaster.
Oh, expensive? Well, I bet. Oh, I can't imagine. It's like that.
It's either that or the Bengals game.
Yeah. Well, that'll be a win for you guys, so you might be able to.
I would hope so.
Yeah, you never know.
Although the last two times we played Cincinnati, it has not gone well.
Really?
Yeah. That's because we had special teams problems. Go figure.
Yeah. Weird.
We also need a cornerback too. So
You definitely do.
if anybody's looking for a job, go play corner for the Packers, please. Otherwise, right now we're moving our wide receiver 6 to corner, and that's not.
Damn.
That's just we didn't want to pay Jair Alexander.
Yep,
So
that's right.
It is what it is. But regardless of what happens this year with the Steelers, despite all the haters with Aaron Rodgers and the media, and they're really, somebody asked him about that too the other day at training camp. They're like, look, all this attention and everybody's asking you about anything in your life, and he's like, just leave me the hell alone, man. Like, hey, yeah, you're a celebrity, but you're just a football player. You're still a guy. You're still a dude.
He does it to himself, dude. He really does do it to himself. I hate to say that, but it's true.
No,
He
I
really
don't disagree
does.
with that. There's quite a few instances where it's like, okay, he's asking for it.
And I'll say this, though. I will say this paired with it. I'd rather him be himself than not be himself. I'm okay with that. I think everybody should just be themselves, but at the same time, it's
don't
like
live a different life.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't be like, why is everybody like this about me in the same breath? Because it's just like, yeah, because you are being you, and that just doesn't look great.
Right. Tigers are the first team in the baseball to 50 wins. Scooble dominated on the mound Tuesday, and they win 11-4.
It was looking hairy early on. Gave up a home run in the first, and I think he gave him either another 2-run home run in either the second or the third. So I was getting a little nervous. But man, I don't know if you saw the plays by Winsell Perez out in right field, but there was to start off the inning, there was a double off the wall that Scooble gave up. He gunned him down at second, got the out.
Oh yes,
and then did it again 2 batters later.
Oh, he did it again?
And it wasn't off the wall, but it was like down the right field line. He picked up a really hard throw, kind of having to spin around and throw it. And it was a perfect throw, perfect tag by Javi Baez. And he had a couple good hits in that game too. So, yeah, and then this 50-win Tigers team, this is the quickest or in the top 3 quickest that the Tigers have ever gotten 50 wins. And each of those times, we made it to the World Series.
There you go. If that's a sign.
Just saying.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. Do the Tigers, could they still use a few pieces? Yes. Do they need help in the bullpen and other starters besides Scooble? Absolutely. But they're still the best team in baseball by record now. Do they make more of a run this year? Is this like a legit, like, this could be ALCS or World Series?
I'm getting on my soapbox for a quick second.
Okay.
Last night, this is before.
Gonna make it quick.
Yeah, I will. Real quick. I know this is a little before your time, but the 06 team is the closest to a team that we can kind of relate this to, because the 06 team wasn't loaded with all-star talent like 2013 and all those teams are. But we beat the Yankees in the ALDS that year, and that team probably had the best lineup ever assembled. A-Rod and Jeter and Matsui, Posada, all those guys. If we could do that with that team, this team is more talented, I believe, than the 06 team. And
Wow.
I think we could get past the Yankees. And they are the big threat in the AL. Now, can we win the World Series? I don't know. NL is a lot better than the AL this year. I will say that. There's a lot of teams in the NL that I think
in a
are
7-game
really good.
series, I don't think they beat the Dodgers.
I think we could. We've at least seen them so far. It would be a Cinderella story.
They would have to take one of the 2 first home games in LA to do it. Otherwise, You're going back to Detroit, down 2-0. Skubal likely not pitching in one of those 2 games, and we're in trouble.
Well, and what messed up the Yankees last year was their defense. They played horrible. They had a really bad inning. I think it was game 5 rather. They had a horrible inning of just errors all over the place. This Tigers team will not do that. I think this Tigers team is built for a postseason run, and I think they can get to the World Series. Now, whether or not they can win it is a different thing. Like I said, the NL is a whole different beast. But we can get past the Yankees, we're in.
And real quick here to wrap up, the Rocket Classic is back in Detroit this week at the Detroit Golf Club. Excited to have PGA back in Michigan again. Quite a few names on here. It's not an event where like the DeChambos and McElroys play, but for those that watch golf, would still know the name. Yeah, Minwoo Lee, just to name a few. I'm going to leave a couple out here, but Cam Davis, who won it last year, Wyndham Clark, Keegan Bradley, Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay, Batia, Ricky Fowler, Nate Lashley. The only other time we went to the PGA event was 2019, where Nate Lashley won it and shot minus 25.
Wow.
And Hideki Matsuyama will
Nice
be there
pronunciation.
as well. Probably screwed it up still.
You were close. You were close.
But thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it, and Andy is going as well Friday. So I think we're going to meet up at some point. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I love it.
So go Tigers. Thank you,
Tigers.
Insurance Circle Agency. And we'll see if Nico Harrison screws up this number 1 pick. So thanks for watching. And thanks to Coach Cook again.
Yes, thank you.
Always appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye-bye.